A first alert from Shawano County. A 59-year-old semi-driver from Antigo is dead after an early morning crash on Highway 29 construction zone in Heartland. Witnesses say just before 5 a.m. the westbound rig went into the median, flipped on its side and slid into the eastbound lanes. Investigators say the truck hit a section of roadway cut out of the left lane marked by orange traffic posts. Blowing a tire caused the driver to lose control. Deputies and first responders found him trapped in the cab. He died before he could be taken to a hospital. His name has not been released pending family notification.